Welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm your host, Tristen Stawicki. Think of me as your pragmatic shaman bestie. Join in with other high-vibe, lovely people as I unravel spiritual ideas to help create change and growth in your life. I cover a variety of spiritual topics, sharing knowledge to meet you wherever you are in your journey. As a shaman, astrologer, and human design reader, I help you understand how to make informed decisions and incorporate different modalities using discernment and your own intuition. Today, you will gain powerful shamanic healing tools you can use to incorporate spiritual practices in non-traditional ways. Whether you're just beginning or need a knowledgeable best friend with the next phase of your journey, I'm here to help. Stay tuned. Musings and Modalities starts now. Hey everyone, and welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm Tristen Stawicki, your shaman with an MBA, and I am so excited for today's interview with best-selling author and writing coach Lisa Daly. Lisa is one of the top nonfiction and self-help book coaches in the US, coaching everyone from first-time writers to seven-figure authors. She's a USA Today best-selling author of more than 15 romance and nonfiction books herself, including How to Write a Self-Help Book in 14 days, which we all need. Like, that's incredible. She's also the founder of Author.Coach and the Bestselling Academy and hosts a popular publishing YouTube channel, Bestselling Author Writing Coach. Welcome, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Tristan. I'm super excited to be here today. Love your podcast.
Oh, thank you. That really means a lot. I'm so excited we were able to connect, and you're becoming one of my new friends, which I still love.
Ditto.
Yeah, this community does. And so I know that we've had some conversations, but let's really share for the audience. Talk to me about your life, what a book coach is, and how did you get started with it?
Thank you so much. That's such a great question. It's kind of funny. I started off about 20 years ago. I was like the person in my friend group who always sort of gave dating advice to all my friends. And we had a year where 7 of the 8 of us got married in a single year, which is kind of crazy. I know, right? All of us, we were all just like that age.
Yeah.
And I think we were all right around like well, we were all just right around the same age. But anyway, so we all got married except this our one friend Tina, who was like the worst dater on the planet. Love her to pieces. And she finally like kind of figured her stuff out and is married to a super nice guy now. But at the time, she was just like she'd make all the terrible dating mistakes. She'd call all the time and she'd do like the midnight booty run and all kinds of stuff that was not getting her to where she wanted to be.
Yeah.
So I was inspired to write this dating advice book, essentially based on advice that my grandmother had given me and that our other friends. But the book was really about Tina. And I really enjoyed it for a long time. The book did very well. It was called Stop Getting Dumped, and it became this big international bestseller. And the book I wrote after that was a novel. Oh, right, are you laughing because I'm a hand
No,
talker?
we love, celebrate, like say it louder. That's huge. That's incredible.
So, thanks. Anyway, so what happened was that book did really well. I ended up writing a novel for my next book, which is also something I had never done. And what I realized was as I wrote more and more books, I realized how much I really loved teaching people and
Mhm.
so I started doing a lot of events where I'd go to a university and speak, and or writing festivals, things like that, just to kind of help people. Because when I first started, I didn't know any other authors. And
Yeah.
so writing that first book, in particular, a nonfiction book, can be kind of challenging. I mean, right, either kind is kind of challenging. So in any case, my significant other is a big YouTuber, and he was like, "You have to do this as a YouTube channel." And so I started putting these publishing videos out, kind of how to write a book, how to structure a self-help book, how to market a book, things like that. And I get this call, or actually I get this email on a Sunday night from this woman. Her name was Theodora Taylor. She's this big seven-figure uh, romance author, and she says, I have been giving a conference talk. I have to give another one in 2 weeks. I'm working on a book on this conference talk, and I have 11 days. Can you help me write this book? And so I'm a person who loves a challenge. So I was like, yes, I can help you write that book. And so yeah, so anyway, so we worked on it together. And I had done book coaching in the past, but it was primarily with people that I knew or someone, a friend of a friend referred me, etc. And Theodora was the first person who had found me on the YouTube channel, and we worked
Um,
together. She did get the book done. It became this big bestseller. I know, right?
we love.
And it's called Seven Figure Fiction, and she has this really unique idea um, uh, called universal fantasy, which is in universal fantasies are in most books and movies and TV shows, and she uses lots of great examples. But what happened was this book just like exploded. So you could not go to a romance conference that year or the year after without hearing sort of the buzzwords from her book, like universal fantasy and butter. We're talking about add more butter to the book. And it was such an amazing experience. And she started sending more friends, more seven-figure romance authors who also wanted to write craft books or books about I do a lot of books on manifesting and writing that sort of more like the woo-woo stuff we both love.
Yeah.
And I just realized like I feel a real calling to do this. And so I sort of opened up my practice some. I started working with more entrepreneurs and coaches. And I absolutely like this is something that like sparks happiness in me every single day. And I love it. I love it. I love taking someone who's like, I have an idea for a book. I have no idea what I'm doing. And can you please help me? Like, that is my favorite thing, I think, in the universe to take the person through the process and have them have a book at the end of it. It's pretty awesome.
It is because it's just one of those like milestones no one can take away from you. You know what
Right.
I mean? It's so tangible, it's so universal. And that's incredible. You not only your book, but kind of your client's book also had a genre defining experience, right? Where
Really. Yeah.
yeah, where the zeitgeist has changed because of the work that you and she put out, and that is just phenomenal, right? Like,
It was an
yeah.
amazing experience. The fact, and I think we talked about this when when we were talking previously. Um, One of the really cool things is I went to that writing conference that she was trying to speed write that book for, and I ended up going to a round table where all the people there were romance writers, certainly not at or not earning at that level, but all romance writers there to learn, and they were all talking about the book, and it had been out for like less than a week. They're all like, talking about the ideas. They couldn't wait to see the speech that Theodore was giving the next day, and it was such a like powerful because even if a book takes off normally, you see it like you see the numbers looking good on Amazon or you see your
Mhm.
sales numbers, etc. It's really rare to like sort of be the fly on the wall where everybody's talking about a book all at once. I mean, it was just sort of kismet, but it was such an incredible, powerful experience.
That's beautiful, especially when it's your peers. It means
Oh,
even
right,
more, right? Like
right.
it's just like incredible. Oh, and as we think about, why it's important for coaches and entrepreneurs to really write a book, to have that tangible kind of piece of, evidence of their experience, can you talk to me about why that's seemingly more important than other forms of business promotion?
Yeah. So, one of the things that is so powerful about a book is that it gives you instant authority. If you
Mhm.
are an author of a book on your topic, whether that topic is manifesting or starting a business or working through trauma or whatever it is that your area of expertise is in your coaching or your business. I mean, it could be about like making t-shirts, but whatever it is, that writing that book really helps to establish you as the authority in your field, and it gives you that sort of instant credibility. But one of the other things that I think is super cool about it is that as you go through the process of writing the book, you're really honing in on who are the people that I'm talking to in my business and or in my coaching practice, and what are their problem, like what's getting them stuck. And
Mhm.
the great thing for especially coaches is that they're on Zoom calls every day and they know what their people are like. They know the problems, they know the place where everybody gets stuck. And, for me, I could say, like, for first time authors, one, they just don't know where to start is always the problem. They don't know what to start, or they started writing and they go, it just doesn't feel like a book because they're not quite sure what to put where, how do I, and so I know exactly where the sticking points are. And most coaches are like that. And I think just really working through as you're writing the book, what, where are the friction points? What's causing them pain? Like, why do they need to solve this problem in their lives?
Mhm.
That it can be so powerful to distill that into a book. And the other thing is that one of the things I love about a book is that if a person really needs your help and they can't afford like your coaching process, that most people can afford a book and that you can change somebody's life for $5 and, build your business at the same time. It's just, to me, it's just such an incredible thing. And I'm a reader anyway, so of course I love books. So
No, same. Yeah, as my coaching business continues to take off, like I used to be able to hit like 150 books every year, and I'm like, oh, that's dwindling a little bit, but it's still very important to me. So, but no, I,
absolutely.
yeah, and especially it's kind of, I think many of us, as we have our business, we really want to focus on giving back to community. And what a beautiful
Yeah.
way to do that is through like, even at times giving away your book, putting
Yeah.
it, sharing it with libraries, charging for it, of course, so you can,
Yeah.
do what you need to do. But that's really, really beautiful.
It works really well. The other thing too is that a lot of times people don't know that they're ready for coaching. And one of the great things that a book does is that it sort of soft sells you and your method and your theory. Like people are they've got their guard up when they see a Facebook ad. They've got their guard up when you see, some other, paid social media promotion. But people do not have their guard up when they're reading a book. They want the information. They are seeking information, in particular with nonfiction books. Sometimes we're seeking escape, as in the
Yeah.
case of fiction. But in a nonfiction book, they're seeking an answer to a problem. And you have presented yourself really well as the answer to the problem, which is why it's kind of amazing. But writing a book brings a lot of clients to your door, and that's it was something that like when I initially started working with nonfiction authors, I initially thought like the book was sort of valuable in itself, and I still do. But I was really surprised at what a business builder it could be. And
Mhm.
that you don't have to sell your stuff in a book. You just mention it. And if people want more help with the problem they're trying to solve, or they want to do it faster, or they want somebody to hold their hand, you're the person they feel like they know to help them solve this problem. And I think that is so incredibly powerful.
That's so, so beautiful. And I think as we've kind of detailed why it's important to really create that book, I know a common kind of pitfall and a challenge is really overcoming the mindset around selling and self-promotion, right? And you're like, I did this incredible thing and it feels yucky to be
Yeah.
like, and I want you to buy it and pay this money for it. So talk to me about how you work with people through
Yeah.
that.
So you're right. And so one of the things, and I see this more with women, right?
Mhm.
I work with more women than men, but women are always the ones who say like, am I really an expert? I don't know if I feel comfortable with that, or I don't know, like, oh, do I want to charge for that? Men do not have this pitfall. They do not. They're like, they don't doubt their own expertise as a rule. I'm sure some do, but they typically do not doubt their own expertise. They typically don't worry about charging for their services. And one thing that Theodora, that first like big seven-figure client, she is a big fan of DDT, Denise Dunfield Thompson, and she who wrote Get Rich, Lucky Bee.
Mhm.
And one of the things in that book that Theodora had passed along to me was keep raising your prices till it hurts. And that like till you feel like you want to throw up and then you're okay for a while. But
Yeah.
I think what's really important for coaches to know, and women entrepreneurs and coaches in particular, is that your knowledge is valuable, and it does feel gross to be too salesy. Like it
Yeah.
does feel that way. That's a big disconnect for a lot of women growing their business. And I think that's part of the other reason why I like books, because it's not the book itself will help your client, will help your clients or client people who are similar to your clients. And you always want to make sure that you solve the problem for them in the book. You should never require them to buy something else or whatever.
Right.
But it does give people the opportunity to get to know you. And so for me, who also really hates like the funnel and what I
Yes,
mean?
I
Like
do
all
know.
the marketing. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm an award-winning copywriter. That's what I did in my former life. I hate that stuff. I hate it. And one of the things that's so great about the book is it makes it so you don't have to like do that kind of stuff as much.
Absolutely. And plus, it goes into rooms and in people's hands that you've never
Yeah.
imagined, right? Which is beautiful.
It's shocking how far a book can go, and especially if you do a good job at solving the problem. And if you're following my program, you definitely will, because I will have made you think about it before you started. But if you do a good job solving the problem, people will tell other people and they will pass that book along. And for me, like it's something people are used to reviewing books. So another thing that happens is that you get some great feedback all the time through reviews about your message, about whether or not your method is working. It just offers so many insights, but it also gives you the ability to connect with so many people. I cannot tell you over the years how many times I've been shocked when someone said, "Oh, my friend so and so gave me your book." And right, it's somebody you never in
Oh,
a
yeah.
million years. And it's just a super powerful feeling.
Yeah, because like, sure, we'll pass around business cards, but there's nothing that has the weight of a book. So,
Oh, no. And business, I think a book is really like the new business card.
right.
Right.
Yes.
And if you speak, which a lot of my clients do, if you speak at different events, one thing that's really great that you can do is work the price of a book for every participant into your speaking fee. And
Oh,
that it right, it's like
love.
really,
Yes.
really common thing to do for speakers, especially as they get to higher levels. And so, depending on how many people you're speaking to, you've got 100 or 250 or 5,000 or 10, however big the room
Right.
is that you're speaking to, that all those people take home a book rather than the business card. One of my best experiences was an agent who I'd met at a conference. He met probably a million people. And I typically would not give an agent a book at a conference because that's kind of a no-no. But he and I connected so much, and he was like, "Do you have it? I really want to see it." And he ended up reading it on the way home and offering to represent me for film for my. I know, right? But it was that book.
Oh,
So yeah, just like it can be really, really powerful.
yeah, there is magic always in books. That is beautiful. And as we really think about, and it's odd to say, but 2026 is right here. It's showing up. And as we think about our big goals, I know it's like rough.
We
I
know
was
that
like
happens.
setting my own. I was in a entrepreneur meeting with other founders yesterday, and we were like, "What are our goals by the end of 2026 we want to hit?" And I'm like, "Yep, here's some big, hairy, audacious ones. Let's go." Right?
It's so funny that you say that because I literally started, like, I'm the person that orders my new planner in October
I love that.
every year. Erin Condren, I love you. I am the person who orders my planner very early every year, and I literally, in fact, I think it was right after we started talking, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so late already. It's like the end of October. I need to start writing down my big goals." And also, I always look at my existing year goals,
Yeah.
right, just to
Yeah.
see like, wait, is there anything that I haven't done yet that I can knock out by the end of the year? Because I always like to like check that off the
Same.
list.
Nothing better. No better high.
Right? I know.
Yeah.
Especially like a really big goal, I think is one of the things. Last year, my big goal was to open my store, and it was a ton of work, and I did like, but you know how like I was in December and I'm like, oh, because you have so many other things going on.
Yep.
And I was really feeling, I thought, you know what? I'm going to give myself a project extension. I'm going to get it done by the end of January. And I sort of counted it still as a 2024 goal.
Absolutely.
But right, but I got it done. Like I'm like, okay. And
Mhm.
so that sort of helped me not feel like, oh, I did not accomplish that this year. I just gave myself a deadline extension and accomplished it in January. And it feels like, okay, that's good. I did it.
I love that. It's so writer coded too.
I know.
Like it's fine. We'll hit the
I
next
just need an
deadline.
extension on my deadline. Yes, totally. Absolutely
That's
the truth.
awesome. So, how do you really see kind of the role of nonfiction books changing for our entrepreneurs and our coaches in 2026 and beyond, right?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that I go to several conferences a
Mhm.
year, and one of the conferences that I go to is called NINC, which is Novelist Inc. But in order to attend this conference, unlike most other writer conferences, there's a threshold you have to meet. You have to have published a certain number of books. You
Oh,
have to
wow.
have earned either a certain amount in an advance if you're traditionally published, or if you're independently published, you had to have, met a certain dollar threshold. But what that tends to do is obviously it eliminates all the people who are new to the business. And so the entire conference really focuses on these sort of higher level things. And romance authors, no matter how you feel about romance, whether you love it or don't,
Everyone should love
romance,
it. First off,
right?
everyone
I
should
know,
love it. Like it's the
romance,
best.
exactly. Romance authors are always the innovators in publishing. Independent romance authors are always the innovators in publishing. And one of the things that they've been talking about at that particular conference and at some other kind of higher level conferences for the last several years is selling direct to your audience through your own like Shopify store. And I think that this is so incredibly powerful. And this is why last year I was like, I have to get this store done.
Yeah.
Because in addition to selling like your courses or your coaching packages, you're also selling your books directly to your customers, to your readers, some of them who just randomly find you on the internet, and some of them who are already on your list, on your subscriber list. But instead of giving most of that money to Barnes and Noble or Amazon or the distributor,
Right.
you keep most of it, which is great. And you're not waiting 60 days to get paid. You're getting paid tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. And that has been such a game changer for both romance authors that have a bit of a backlist. So not so much people who are working on their first book, but romance authors who've got, 5 books or a couple of series. It's been incredible, like a total game changer, doubling your money kind of thing, right? And then also you're getting all that if you're advertising like on Facebook or something, you're getting all that client data for like where they found you, how, what, you have all this information that if they're buying your book somewhere else like Amazon or Barnes and Noble, you're not going to see that information because Amazon keeps it. And so, what I think is super cool about that for nonfiction authors, like coaches and entrepreneurs, is that if you are selling your book, you can do both. That's the other thing. You don't have to pick one or the other. You can sell your book on your own site. You can sell your book on Amazon, and and the great thing about having a store, an online store, and selling direct is that you are really able to keep more of that money that your clients are bringing in, but it just feels really empowering to go like, I have now built a relationship with my people and they are comfortable buying directly from me, and so there's nobody in between me and my customers or clients, and that's amazing. You learn more, you see what the problems are, you like it's so that's where I think it's going. I think you'll see more coaching and entrepreneurs, more coaches and entrepreneurs start to set up like just little mini Shopify stores
Mhm.
and kind of build a business. And I've had several of my authors do that, or they'll do a Kickstarter, which is another good thing. If you've got a course and a coaching program, or a course and a workbook and a book, that makes for an amazing Kickstarter. When my clients, Inez Johnson, just made like $52,000 in 2 weeks on Kickstarter, which is like
Well, 2 weeks, that's real, real money. Wow.
Yeah, it really was. She was like, this is again, she's like a six-figure romance author, but that is a completely different audience. This
Yeah.
was a craft book about how to write books the way that she writes books. And, 2 weeks, $52,000 is like, and that is the other great thing I love about writing a book, right? Because it's super easy to spin off a workbook just based on the questions at the end of the chapters. Like that's a whole separate book. It's super helpful for your clients to keep everything in one place, but it's easy for you to produce. And then, in a course or coaching or whatever. Like I love the whole thing. It
Yeah, it's a whole ecosystem and it makes sense. It's
really
like
is.
let's take the best of what we're seeing other businesses do and bring
Right.
it here. That's beautiful. I do want to make sure we cover and talk about kind of the biggest mistake new authors make when writing their first book.
Yeah, I think that the biggest mistake that new authors make is that they get really stuck on this idea that it has to be perfect
Mm.
or they can't put it out in the world. And I will just tell you, having been traditionally published for 10 years at the beginning of my career and now independently published because I like the money.
Right.
Right. Well,
Freedom.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I make a
Yeah.
lot more money,
Yeah.
and the distribution and all of that, you can't in a bookstore. Nobody knows where the distribution came from. Like all that stuff is so much easier now. You really don't need a publisher in the same way you did, 10 or 20 years ago. And I think the biggest thing, so what I was going to say with all that about traditional publishing is that every single book I've had traditionally published has had a mistake in it in some place, even though it goes through 3 rounds of professional editing and typesetting and all of that. There's always something in there. I don't have one in front of me, but one of my books, 15 Minutes of Shame, which is a novel, I was on a 28 city book tour for this book, and there were so many problems with getting the book out. Like I don't know what the production problems were. They had a new editor in chief. There were all these problems, but I had received like so I'm having these events. We're never sure if the books are going to get there on time. Which again, this was Putnam. This is not like some fly by night thing, and I had come home from the tour for like 2 weeks to kind of rest and hang out with my family. And I got a couple of cases of books to take on the road with me to solve that problem of books not arriving on time. And the books were all half my book, my cover. First half was my book. Second half was Amy Tan's Joy Luck Club. Amy was also she was also published by Penguin at the time. I thought it was, I mean, I still have 10 copies. I've given
Of
out so
course.
many,
But like
right?
that is truly a nightmare that
I know.
you
Oh, it was
have like
awful
a
at the time.
night sweat dream.
Right. Well, then when I called my editor, she was
Oh,
like, okay, I talked to production and they said those were the only ones. And I'm like, they're being shipped all over the country and you're telling me there's only one box. That's crazy. Yeah. So so that kind of thing. So this is what I just want to say. You can do an excellent job with your book. It does not have to be perfect. And I think in a lot of cases, it's more important to have heart. There are some
yeah.
truly terrible technical books out in the world that have become big bestsellers because the person who wrote the book believed so deeply in it. And I actually have one. There is a client book that was, they very respectfully said no thanks to the advice. For me, or no thanks to some of the advice, in particular that they edit some of their stories down. And they're delightful ladies to work with, two former, I don't want to say what.
All
Anyway,
good.
there were these delightful ladies, and the book was by all accounts terrible. I will
Fair.
say, like
Yeah.
it really just, I shouldn't say that. The stories were lovely. What they really needed was like a really good, solid edit.
Mhm.
And they had one, but they ignored all the advice of the editor. But they believed in this book so much that the thing has sold all over. It continues to sell extremely, right? Because they
Yeah.
just infuse so much of them. So are they a little wordy in their stories? Yes. Do I tend to be wordy in my stories? Yes. But are they a little wordy? Yeah. Could they have used another editing pass where they actually paid attention to their editor? Yes. but there's some magic in that book. And
Of
that's the thing. It does not have my first book, by far my worst. Everybody's first book is typically their
course.
worst,
Yeah.
right? But there was some magic in that book. And I think that's the thing. I think that new authors often go like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to feel stupid. But if you say yes and you put yourself out in the world, good stuff typically happens. And if you really believe in what you're doing, then I think that people will forgive you for not being perfect. Because who
Mhm.
among us is, right? I mean, we're all deeply flawed human beings. So, yeah.
Absolutely. It's the beauty of being alive and being human. Oh, thank you so much for all the wisdom you've shared and all of the encouragement today. I believe you have a listener deal to share.
I do, and it would be awesome if I'd brought that up. I think there is a code. I wrote that, which gives you 25% off my Bestseller Academy course, which is Write a Self-Help Book in 30 days, or anything, books, gifts, services in the www.author.coach publishing store. So books,
Beautiful.
workbook, course, you name it.
Absolutely. Is there anywhere else the audience can find you or that you'd like to share today?
Yeah. So if you are just thinking about maybe you'd like to start publishing a book, a really great place to get advice is on my YouTube channel, which is Bestselling Author Writing Code. I had like one of those moments where you forget your ATM code.
Always.
Bestselling Author Writing Coach Lisa Daly. You can find me on YouTube and I will give you some advice.
We love. Thank you so much for all of the wisdom you've shared today. This has been absolutely incredible having you here. I so
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for having me. It's been amazing.
And thank you, listeners, for watching Musings and Modalities with me, your shaman with an MBA. Tune in the second and fourth Thursdays of each month at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern for more fabulous episode. Exclusive for my listeners, you can use code Musings for 15% off any session with me. That includes my Reiki sessions, deep shamanic healing, past life clearing, all of that incredible life-changing work, as well as my birth chart sessions. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to Musings and Modalities with me, Tristen, your pragmatic shaman bestie. For more powerful healing tools, join me every second and fourth Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. I cover a variety of topics to meet you wherever you are at on your spiritual journey. Learn techniques to work with pendulums, past life healing, astrology, and more. Please share the show and subscribe for more guidance from your pragmatic shaman bestie at musingsandmodalities.com.